Welcome back. It is 10:10 on this 23rd day of January. Jenna Muscarella is on the line now. Jenna, I just want to point out, I am never on time. Normally it's like 10:11, it's 10:09, 10:15, but you're keeping me honest right here. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Oh, just getting ready for some winter snow, hopefully. Maybe get to play in the snow a little bit. But you have something really cool coming our way. And feel free to break this down for us. A love letter to Jacoby. This is really awesome.
Yeah, so A Love Letter to Jacoby is an art exhibition held at Jacoby Art Center, and it is taking place from February 1st until March 18th. This show is a two-artist show, so it's myself and artist Michael Snyder, a.k.a. Cooliverse. And so what both of us have done is preserve the past. We're both really focused in these objects of the past, and I like to call them objects of nostalgia. But the whole show kind of revolves on, you know, what once was of the building, what once was of Alton. Jacoby Furniture Store, you know, reigned from 1883 until 1998. Huge part of the history with the building, the furniture store. And then after that, the Madison County Art Council kind of took it over. The building was donated to them, and we have Jacoby Art Center today because of it. So this show is kind of like there's a lot of paintings, a lot of installations, and a lot of collection and curation. So Michael Snyder, Cooliverse, he has collected event posters and, you know, concerts and things that have happened throughout Jacoby and Alton, you know, from the 90s until now. And he has this great collection that he's curated, and he's hung everything and installed everything in this certain way that just kind of takes your breath away. So his portion of the show is actually already up right now. Mine is going up this weekend. But put together, I'm just so excited to see how it all turns out. We also have, sorry, CJ.
No, it's okay. You don't need any of my help. This has been fascinating to listen to. I mean, this is really cool. And to me, this fits every age demographic, in my opinion, because you know, my grandpa, I tell people this all the time, has been in every building in this city, this area with rigged and sewer service, you know, and you know, making sure everything works right. That I think even, you know, the older generation would love to kind of come in and look at this retrospective and hear about it.
Oh, of course. And, you know, it involves everybody in the community, you know, unluckily, I did not get to, you know, see the furniture store in its heyday, but you know, the remains of the furniture store are still on the upper levels. And so that's kind of what inspired me for the show. You know, I went up there and it was like a time capsule. I looked all around, the original wallpapers, just so retro, so many interesting designs. So that's kind of what inspired me a few years ago when I walked up there. And I've been sitting on it, and kind of coming up with this, how am I going to preserve this? How am I going to show everybody what I saw up there? So that's where the idea of the show came from. So my plan is, after this weekend, I am, you know, designing a whole gallery like you're in a furniture store. So I'll have my paintings. I have some 6-foot paintings, some other size paintings, but everything's going to be staged with furniture as if you were taking a step back in time. But, you know, people who remember the furniture store, it'll be a moment of nostalgia for them seeing this. You know, maybe they recognize some of the wallpapers that inspired my paintings. Maybe they, you know, recognize some of the other attributes of the building that they once were a part of. And even, you know, in the 90s or early 2000s when Jacoby really started, you know, coming through, if you've ever had any experience with the building at all, this show's for you.
This is so cool. And so take us through this. So the opening reception is not this Friday, but next Friday, the 3rd of February from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then is this going to be on display open to the public until March the 18th?
Yes. So the opening reception, it'll be a great night if you can come out. We have live music. The singer is fabulous, Stephanie Aguin. She's from St. Louis. Just amazing voice. And then we have culinary creations by Chef Ben Acker. He works down at the conservatory, and he is pairing the foods to my paintings.
No way!
You know, Yeah, so I sent him some of my paintings, and he was getting inspired, coming up with some creations. So I'm excited to see what he comes up with. But then we will actually, Michael and I, Cooliverse, will have an artist talk at 5:30 right before the event, and then from 6 to 8 we have the opening reception. So during that time we have a cash bar, the music, food, and then of course the artwork. And then sorry, go on.
Nope, go on. I was interrupting you while you're describing the event.
No, you're good. I was just going to say that it opens February 1st and it will run until March 18th, during Jacoby regular business hours. And they're open Wednesday through Sunday.
I really like this, and I love a telephone delay. It makes everything a little more interesting in the morning. Well, Jenna, this is so cool. And now I know I hate asking somebody to speak for somebody else, but I saw on Facebook that the of the promos or the event flyers that Michael was putting up, I mean, that took over a day to install, I saw.
Oh yeah.
And
yes.
And now with that, and in terms of, setting this up, in terms of getting things ready, did you have kind of any insight on how that process came about, or, was that kind of leading up to this event too?
Yeah. So the reason why Michael and I kind of got connected, I mean, I'm very familiar with his artwork. We support each other in the art community, and knowing how he uses things of the past to create his artwork with, I'm like, man, he's the perfect person to pair with this, right?
Right.
And so he already had this idea going in his mind about, wanting to create some sort of visual record of all of these events that have happened. And, I think it just kind of came together perfectly. We both had these ideas and we just met and it happened from there. And so and with the posters and event posters of Alton, he's still collecting them. So he is highly encouraging the public, if you have anything you want to contribute to this historical display, please bring it in to Jacoby. We would gladly put it up. He spent forever hanging everything, but it's in the moment. He's installing all of these beautiful works and installing them exactly where they need to go, color by color, shape by shape. And so it's just a purely natural thing that he's doing in the moment, putting it all up.
And that's what I think is just so cool about all of this, is your guys' just a knack and talent for restoring the past, and just kind of preserving that for us to take a quick peek at. I mean, to me, there's so much history in that building. And there's so much history in just the art, the community that is, art, and whether it's painting, whether it's drawing, singing, crafts, all of that. I mean, we have such a big hand in, and I think it's awesome that you guys are really bringing this to light. And I got to ask you, in terms of setup time and on your end for this, I mean, how long did this take you? Because this isn't an easy feat.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this has been, this is, my friends and family will tell you, I've just been painting only for a while now. So, he's been collecting his posters forever. Right. And, getting some from other people in the community recently too. But, I've been planning the show, I want to, for like 2 years.
Wow.
Just in my head, getting everything formulated. But I've been slowly working on the paintings, but it's a lot. I have 2 6-foot paintings, and there's probably about 8 paintings total, but a lot of them are very large in size, and, everything else that's going into it. We had, people who were really involved with the building. We had them write love letters to the building, telling, what they love about it, what they love about their experience there, or, anything design-wise on the building. So those are fun to read, and they're all very different from each other, just important people through the past. And so I'm excited for the public to read those and put everything together. I have a bunch of old Jacoby artifacts to display.
Oh.
So it's going to be cool.
That is awesome. And I mean, I'm reading, you sent me some information for everyone at home. Trust me, I'm not a memory retentive person, but all I know is that it helped that Jenna saved me this morning and sent me a really nice write-up on this. And, something that I think is just that you have such a talent for is, I'm reading this passage, and I was reading it this weekend, and it took me right to, exactly what you were feeling in the moments of going up, to the second floor of Jacoby and, seeing these different showrooms and just, like you said, shining a flashlight on a partition section wall and had an instant rush of inspiration. And is that something that just seeing some of the deterioration in a, good way, or the decay of something, is that kind of what really just, you saw the life in the building right then and there? Just the moment you kind of first encountered it, you knew that there was something special regarding it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just the whole point of preserving the past. Someday that's going to come down.
Right.
Inevitably that wallpaper is not going to exist. And just, it's just so artistic and so beautiful. And I just want to preserve that moment in time. And because we're not going to get it back.
No, and you're absolutely right. And to me, I think so many times, Jenna, that we see, every once in a while, every few years, there's a big outcry because of buildings coming down, and there's so many memories in there. And I always have said, maybe we should have done something, a couple of years before that to kind of highlight it and live it, and just, embrace everything that building had to offer. And, I'm not saying Jacoby's is coming down, but to do things like this, and to just remember the history and the life that it had, and now is carrying on with a new generation of passionate people in that in the building. I mean, that's something that I think we all need to kind of be a part of, and experience it, and just kind of relive some of our memories from the old Jacoby build. Maybe we have grandparents that were there, and they want to kind of go back and see some of that wallpaper, in terms of I remember when it was still getting renovated, or I remember when they just sold the building or just gave it away. And I mean, that's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's a special thing. And, seeing those images, I hope they do kind of evoke some emotions going back. I just think that your past is so special,
Right.
Certain times in it at least. And, to bring back that warm, fuzzy feeling of something that you recognize, or, it's just familiar. And so I hope that I can evoke some of those emotions.
Now, do you have a favorite? I mean, we haven't seen him yet, obviously. We're about 2 weeks away. But can you maybe tease us a little bit on what your favorite piece of of what you've generated and created is?
Yeah. So one of the larger ones, a 6 foot, it's this beautiful, I love to do floral paintings just because I think they're beautiful. And so there is this pink floral wallpaper up there. And, I kind of took my own spin on it, so it doesn't look the exact same, but it still gives you enough of that rush of remembrance, of what it once was.
Mm-hmm.
And so that one's probably my favorite. I put some movement into it, but there's also this wallpaper that I thought was so interesting, and it was half torn down and really rugged looking, but it was a wallpaper of French soldiers.
Wow.
And it was just beautiful. I mean, it looked so old and antique, and you'll have to see it for sure in person. But that was one of my favorites, just because I thought that was so odd. A wallpaper of French soldiers.
Well, you know what?
It's like almost like a painting, but plastered on the wall.
That's what we call a tease in radio. That means you guys got to get out and check out all the just beautiful work that Jenna's describing. I mean, I'm really excited to go down and check this out, Jenna. And also wanted to highlight that if you guys missed the opening reception, well, there's a last look reception on Friday, March the 3rd that will be coming up in a few months. But why don't you check out both of them? You get it at the front end, you get it at the back end, and you're able to kind of observe all of it, and hear it from start to finish. Is the last look reception going to be pretty similar to the opening reception?
It'll be a little different. We won't have, the same kind of food atmosphere and music atmosphere, but we'll have activities in there. I know Jacoby on the last look nights, they're really trying to push, actually including people in the artwork. So I would also love, people to come out and tell any stories that they have about the building, or, any experiences they have over there. I think that would be fabulous to add to the exhibit.
That would be awesome. And Jenna, before I let you, I got two things. One is completely off topic from this one, but anything else that I haven't touched base on with this love letter to Jacoby, mementos of a landmark, that you'd like to get out to our listening audience today?
Just to reiterate, if anybody has posters or events from really any time, throughout any time, most of the posters that Mike has up there, are from the 90s to present, but if we could get some even older ones, that would be awesome. But if you have any sort of flyers or event posters, bring them up to Jacoby.
There you go. And I'm going to reiterate that one. And I'm going to do a specific call to action. I'm talking pre-90s event posters. That would be really cool to see.
I know. I want to see some.
Me too. Well, actually, I think I might have a few, to be honest with you. I don't know. I'm going to have to call Grandma and see, because she has some saved from just some of the Booster Club days that might be interesting. But, there's so many, and I think if we all come together and find a piece or two, it becomes so much bigger than, any one person on the project. I mean, everyone's seeing their poster, something they went to as a kid. I mean, come together to life, too. That's awesome.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, and that's Mike's vision with it. He's including the whole community in this, and he wants everybody to be in this exhibit. So, come out and see what kind of posters he has. Maybe it's going to remind you of an event that you went to one day, in the past. And we want to include everybody into it. It's all of our history, and we just want to preserve it.
Absolutely. And while you're at it, check out Jenna Muscarella's just amazing pieces that are going to, take you right, to the past. And I really love it, Jenna. And one last question for you, completely off topic. Did I read in the RiverBender a few months back that you were painting some of the utility boxes outside on West 3rd Street?
Yes. I painted the utility box outside of Bossa Nova.
And it looks amazing. I just wanted to ask you briefly about that. Can you tell me just the ins and outs real quick, like how it started and what the idea was from it?
Yeah, so I used to live in Corpus Christi, Texas, and they had all of the utility boxes painted there. And, I thought, wow, that's such a great idea, because the utility boxes are kind of an eyesore. They're not great to look at. They're not beautiful architecture. They're just metal.
Right.
And so, we were thinking, so the Alton Main Street put this whole program together. But, we were like, okay, let's test this one out, see how it goes. And so we decided to do like a botanical landscape on it because of the foliage around the box, right? So Alton Main Street maintains all of the flower beds there, and so does Pride. But, it kind of just goes with the flow of the area and the beautification that is going on down there with all the plants. So I painted it. Luckily, I got it finished like the day before it got cold in November. So I had a couple nice 70-degree days to do it, but it got cold on the last day. But that is up, and so in the springtime, we're planning to turn some of my flower paintings into magnets and putting the magnets on the box, free for visitors of Alton to take. And it will say downtownalton.com, just as, a free souvenir to remember the beautification downtown and celebrate Alton.
You are just incredible. That is wonderful. And I am so excited to see the progress on that. But honestly, I am really excited about the love letter to Jacoby, Mementos of a Landmark. The opening reception is February the 3rd. However, we can start checking it out on the 1st of February. Is that correct?
Yes, it'll be fully open February 1st. Currently, Mike's work is up. So if you do want to get a sneak peek to see the event posters, or if you have some to take down there, you can go see his portion of it. Mine will not be up and ready to go until February 1st, though.
Awesome. And then one last little bit of nuggets for you guys. The opening reception, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Free admission on Friday, February the 3rd. Artist Talk, 5:30 to 6. Live music, culinary creations, and so much more. So make sure you check out Jacoby Art Center and the love letter to Jacoby to relive, really, just Alton at its finest. And Jenna, you are doing a great job of preserving that, and not just preserving it, but making it for a better tomorrow, too, in our art community.
Thank you, CJ.
No problem. Anything else? Anytime you got anything you wanted to highlight, just give me a call. We'll get you right back on the show, and I really appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. It's 10:29 on this 23rd day of January. A quick break. We come back for more of our daily show in the heart of the Riverbend.